got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes.
Hi, welcome to In the Middle and Out of the Box. This is episode 22. Today we're going to be talking about the Florida insurance crisis. So this is a big topic and it's not going to be at all political. This is not a political podcast in any way. So it's just going to be accurate. It's going to be facts. It's just going to be informative. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through just some facts about what's going on, and then we're going to talk about the three-legged kind of stool as an analogy and how each leg on the stool has a purpose and has to take care of certain things, and how in order for the stool to stand up, right, we need three legs. So we're going to go through that analogy. Then I'm going to go over towards the end. I'm going to be talking about some things that you can do to help yourself get coverage, help lower some of your expenses, and hopefully you'll find it helpful and informative. I'm also going to talk about today some science, technology again, and art. I have some beautiful photos. I have some great science, and always my favorite part. So let's talk about the Florida insurance crisis. So how did we get here, right? So it's a very complex problem. So it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of go through how we got here and now what we need to do. So we're all in this together, okay? So the thought of, well, my insurance isn't affected, so this doesn't affect me is not really actually accurate, because there are several companies that over the last, since I think 2017, that have failed. And when they do fail, all of us share the burden of that. So that goes to the state, that debt and the coverage and the claims, and then all of us get that burden to take care of. So just because it might not be affecting you right at this moment, it has affected you, and it will continue to affect you even if your own insurance is not currently affected. So we have to try to change our thinking about how this doesn't involve me or I'm not affected. We're all in this together. So Florida accounts for only 9% of the country's home insurance claims, but 79% of the home insurance lawsuits. Okay, so that's huge if you really think about it. We only have 9% of the country's home insurance claims, but 79% of home insurance lawsuits. So that kind of tells you a little bit of a key of kind of what's going on. Because of the fraudulent lawsuits and the high overall claim risk in Florida, insurance companies have faced 2 consecutive years with net underwriting losses over $1 billion. And so here again, we're talking about how we're going to all be penalized for that, and that burden's going to be spread over evenly with us all together. The devastating damage from Hurricane Ian will likely put further strain on Florida insurers and could worsen the crisis. Since 2017, 6 property and casualty companies that offered homeowners insurance in Florida liquidated. And when they liquidated, like I mentioned, we all share the burden of that. 5 more are in liquidation process in 2022. Other insurance companies voluntarily left the state, right? Some are even more choosing to non-renew swaths of homeowners' insurance policies, drastically tightening their policy eligibility, which we'll get to later on, requirements, or request substantial rate increases. So even though most have left, some are in the process of leaving, some are just in the process of cutting down their policies and non-renewals, and others are just increasing rates. For Florida homeowners, this is resulting in fewer home insurance companies and increased premiums, which we all know. When a company goes insolvent, the Florida Insurance Guarantee Association takes on any claims that still need to be paid by that company. So in late August of last year, they approved a 7% assessment to cover the cost of open claims associated with the liquidated companies. And again, these assessments get assessed to all of us. So again, thinking that it doesn't involve you, it does. So we have to really change our thinking. Okay, so homeowners will pay these fees regardless of the insurance company that they're with. Okay, so like I stated that. So those are kind of the facts, right? So that's kind of what's going on. And now we're going to get to the three-legged stool. This is really important because, I know a lot of people say, well, it's the insurance companies or it's the state or it's the clients of the insurance companies, right? The homeowners. And actually it's all three of them. So we're going to go through each leg of the stool and talk about what's going on with each one, what needs to get done, and where the issues and problems are, and how we're going to solve that and have some solutions. So, leg number one is the insurance companies, right? So, Florida insurers are canceling policies, leaving the state liquidating at a rapid pace. Why? What's behind these companies' aversion to insuring in Florida? Florida has always presented as a risky market to home insurance companies due to the high threat of widespread weather related damages. But the current crisis is a number of factors reaching a boiling point all at the same time. So, first of all, rampant fraud, right? The biggest issue right now in Florida is the home insurance fraud, driven by fraudulent roofing claims. So, although Florida, again, only accounts for 9% of the country's home insurance claims, it's 79% of the homeowners' insurance lawsuits. Many of these lawsuits are fraudulent, right? So, scams happen very often, right? So, first, roofers come out, they canvass the neighborhoods, they offer inspections, then they say that they find damage on your roof, and they often promise a free roof to the homeowner, claiming they can have the insurance deductible waived. Then they have you sign and press you to sign an assignment of benefits form, giving the contractor the right to file an insurance claim on their behalf. So a claims adjuster from the insurance comes out, company inspects the alleged damage. The adjuster either finds no damage or far more minimal damage than the contractor found, and then the claim payout is less than what the contractor demanded. So then the contractor brings legal action against the insurance company, demanding a claim payout for the contractor's original quote. Remember, the homeowners already signed over their benefits form, right, to the contractor. So the contractor doesn't need their permission to file a lawsuit. So now the insurance company now has a choice, right? What is it going to do? Is it going to pay the legal costs to fight the lawsuit or pay the cost to settle out of court? Either way, the insurance company loses money due to the legal action. And honestly, either way, we all pay because that's going to be coming out of our pockets as far as additional assessments. So for all those free roofs out there, we all paid, right? So these schemes are real and happening more frequently, which puts more and more financial pressure on insurance companies, especially in a state with high claims costs due to weather-related events. So the Florida property insurers projected a post-cumulative underwriting loss of $1.7 billion for 2021 due to these runaway litigation costs. The governor's office reports that 2 consecutive years net underwriting losses have exceeded $1 billion. So it's no wonder why all these insurance companies are just leaving the state, right? Because they're just getting inundated with losses and money that they're owed. On top of that, Florida also previously had a one-way attorney fee system, which meant when a court ruled in favor of the plaintiff, in this case it would be the home insurance policyholder or the third-party contractor who filed the claim, the defendant was responsible for paying the plaintiff's attorney fees. So not only were they paying the fraudulent lawsuits, they were also paying for their legal costs. So the insurance reform bill passed in December 2022 addresses the 2 root causes of Florida's residential insurance crisis: the litigation abuse and assignment of benefits. Eliminating both is necessary to slow down the massive volumes of lawsuits being filed against the Florida insurance. So going forward, assignment of benefit forms are banned for any home insurance lawsuits, and Florida will no longer operate on a one-way attorney fee system. So the next thing is the roof age, right? So instead of leaving altogether, some companies are tightening their underwriting restrictions to lessen the risk of these scams. So this is why several companies have put in policies that in order to renew, the age of the roof has to be less than 15 years old. However, companies are now prohibited from denying coverage solely based on the roof age if the roof is fewer than 15 years old and has a life expectancy of at least 5 years left. That said, insurers will have to decide if they're comfortable with those restrictions if they want to stay in Florida. So although they're imposing this tighter and tighter restrictive underwriting requirements for their policies to stay in effect, Florida's saying, well, hold on, you can't just deny somebody if their roof is less than 15 years old for coverage. So some insurances are not, companies are not taking that and they're saying, forget it, we're just going to leave anyway. So we also have storm risk, right? Risk will always be a consideration for homeowners insurance companies in Florida. The state's shape and geographic location mean it could get hit from others, either side from a hurricane because the peninsula is so thin. So, to make matters worse, fraudulent claims may be more common after severe storms and storms that are not uncommon in the state. So, Hurricane Ian made landfall in September. Right? It was a powerful category, actually, that was reclassified as a 5 with widespread damage. The damage and financial fallout could push the already teetering insurance companies into collapse to increased home repair expenses, including the potential of fraudulent claims. Although the risk of damage complicates things, it isn't what's driving the market to the brink of collapse. After all, other risky states don't have this problem, right? So if you think about that, houses that are in Oklahoma that have tornadoes, they don't have the same issue that we have as far as not being able to get coverage. So a high likelihood of damage generally means paying a higher premium to offset the risk, but coverage is usually still available. Oklahoma, for example, has the highest average cost of homeowners insurance in the nation. However, they have access to homeowners insurance policies and don't have the same difficulty we have here in Florida. So again, all these legislative changes have happened over the last, 6 months to a year, trying to make the insurance companies stay, right? So they're no longer going to take the assignment of benefits. They're no longer going to accept one-way attorney fees. They have all these stricter requirements now that they're allowing the insurance companies to do as far as the age of the roof. So these are all to protect the insurance companies, okay? So that's leg number 1. Leg number 2. Okay, so how to lessen your risk as a Florida homeowner of non-renewal. If you live in Florida, having a plan could help you lessen the risk of receiving an insurance non-renewal. There's nothing you can do to prevent your company from pulling out of state, but there are steps that you can do to make your home as insurable as possible. First of all, I know nobody wants to hear this, but you have to keep your roof updated and in good shape. So that means that you have to make sure that every 15 years your roof is replaced. It's kept in excellent shape, and this is just something you're going to have to budget for. It's so important because if you do get damage from a storm or whatever, and they decide not to renew you because your roof is older, you have to make sure that that roof is always in optimum condition and is less than 15 years old. So again, that's just another budget item that we have to start budgeting for. Inspect your roof regularly, repair minor damage as it happens in the interim. And again, it must be part of your budget to set aside to make sure your roof is current. The next thing is install wind mitigation features, right? The state law requires Florida homeowners insurance companies to offer discounts for certain wind protection features, such as hurricane straps and other roof bracing measures. So these features lessen the risk of severe damage to your home. So again, making your property more attractive to the insurance companies, right? So roof to wall connections, roof deck attachments, roof coverings, secondary water resistance. Again, you have storm windows, you have hurricane windows, the shape of your roof, the protection of the openings. There's so many wind mitigation measures that you can take to improve and harden your home. So again, maintain your property. Generally, maintaining your property will make finding insurance coverage easier. Along with checking your roof, also check the rest of the exterior features of your home for damage. And you should make sure there's no large branches or potential hazards overhanging on your home. And these could put your risk of your roof damage in a windstorm, right? So you've got to make sure you have clearance all around your home. There's nothing overhanging on your roof. Again, you protect that roof like it's gold. Again, so getting back to what other responsibilities, right? Additionally, Florida homeowners, there are ways you can lessen the impact of home insurance fraud and keep companies from having to liquidate. You have the power to help stop contractor fraud by being informed and reporting fraud. Know the signs and stay educated. Recognize a sign of fraud and stop it before it happens. Be wary of solicitation. Soliciting business isn't against the law, but a contractor who canvasses neighborhoods after storms, and especially those who offer incentives and rebates for inspection, may be part of a scam. Instead, contact your home insurance company if you're concerned about your sustained damage after a storm. Don't sign an assignment of benefit a risk form like we talked about. Those are no longer valid anyway, so we don't want to just have somebody be signing it anyway. You don't know what you're signing, so make sure that you are very clear on what you're signing. Okay, so those are all things that the homeowner has to do, right? They have a responsibility in this also. So the state has a responsibility, the homeowner has a responsibility, and the insurance company has a responsibility. So now we're going to talk about the third leg, right? So the state of Florida. Is there anything being done to curb the crisis? So again, we talked about Bill 76, Senate Bill 76, which went into effect July 2021, which includes several provisions to curb fraudulent claims. It also talks about the one-way legal insurance, right? So Florida lawmakers met for a special session from May 23rd to the 27th last year. The legislature passed an insurance reform bill that includes several provisions to help slow the spiral of the market. The provision including setting up a My Safe Home program, which provides grants to Florida homeowners to strengthen their homes. Now, I know that a lot of people, I think, try to apply for these, and there was very high criteria. I think you couldn't have shutters already or something like that. I know they've changed the criteria a little bit, and they've also put more money in the pot for this program. So even if you've already checked into it the first time, I would go back and check again because I know the criteria has changed. Additionally, homeowners insurance companies will not be able to deny coverage for homes solely based on age roof if it's less than 15 years old and has still 5 years left of useful life to it. So again, older roofs may be still denied because of the higher risk of damage. Finally, lawyers will be restricted in the rates that they can charge. And again, we're not going to have the one-way lawsuits anymore, so that hopefully will cease them coming to try to cash in for costs. Okay, now reinsurance, another thing that's going on. So Florida established a reinsurance fund through its last resort insurance Citizens. This means that if any insurance company's financial strength is downgraded below an A level, the downgraded company can purchase coverage from Citizens to back it, similar to like a co-signer. So they're saying, hey, we still want you to be here. We know you're not in the best financial shape. We'll send you over to Citizens, and we'll kind of co-sign for you and get you back to healthy again as a reinsurer. Reinsurer through Citizens would allow the downgraded insurance company to meet Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's requirements, which is so important because of the mortgage holders that have those loans. This is important because it would prevent policyholders from being required to find a new property insurer. However, a reinsurance solution further strains Citizens, which is already taking on substantial risk by insuring more policyholders in the state as other insurance companies exit Florida. So what can you do if your home insurance has been canceled, right? If you received a Florida homeowners insurance cancellation, act quickly. With hurricane season approaching and the insurance market turmoil, getting another policy could be very difficult, but it is possible. Work closely with your insurer and your insurance agent to see what other options are available to you. Contact your insurance agency immediately to determine what their options are for homeowners insurance. And if you're still struggling to find homeowners insurance coverage in Florida, there's still a few companies here that still might be able to help you. So Citizens, you have State Farm writing still some policies. You have new insurance that are coming in. So we have Kin, we have Slide, and now we have a new insurance company that isn't quite here yet, but it has put in the paperwork to be here, called Tailrow. So here's some insurance companies that are actively writing in Florida, except for the last one, which is brand new and should be very shortly. So those are some other additional options for you. So Kin Insurance. No home insurance company in Florida is immune to rippling effects of raging litigation, but according to its leadership, this company has some things that we're doing to allow us to stay open in Florida when other folks are going out of business. So in addition to the company's bulk policies being unassignable, the company also employs a unique system for assessing claim damage. Kin uses software that monitors weather systems and accurately pinpoints which houses may be damaged. The company can then proactively reach out to those homeowners to determine if a claim needs to be filed, thereby cutting out potential predatory contractors. So the problem, though, is With all the legislative measures that have happened to kind of protect and insulate the insurance companies, the pendulum is starting to swing too far, right? So the pendulum is now swinging too far. It's got to be like those three stool legs. It's got to be totally balanced. It has to have protections and offerings for everybody involved in that stool. And now we're starting to see that the insurance protections have swung too far from the state. So basically what happened was is after Ian, insurance companies were found to be paying out property damage estimates claims cut by more than 80%. So insurance carriers were changing adjusters' work without their knowledge, rewriting descriptions of the damage without their knowledge, deleting accompanying photos, all without their approval, all being actions to devalue the damage, which is considered fraud by themselves. Also, they didn't have to pay the claims on their coverages. Major carriers had pulled out, smaller regional carriers with smaller financial reserves seeking to limit their payouts, and homeowners were being left to foot most of the bills from the damage. So over the past two legislative sessions have passed more laws that further protect and insulate property insurance carriers and attorneys have happened. New legislation began in April for insurers' accountability package that would sharply increase fines against wayward insurers that were doing all these tactics and fraud just so they would avoid paying out their claims. But the legislation is doing very little about the double-digit rates that are coming. So, although they're trying to now put the pendulum back a little bit with this accountability legislation action that they're talking about right now and trying to pass, as far as making sure that the insurers do not lessen the claims and fraudulently change everything, the problem is that it's kind of like too little too late, right? So our insurances are skyrocketing. So let's talk about just again some hopefully helpful things that might help you for how to save on some of your home insurance. So first of all, you want to compare rates from multiple companies that help you score the best rates possible. Now, I just listed some new companies that might be also very competitive. By shopping around for home insurance, you could potentially save a good bit of cash by taking advantage of these cheaper premiums, right? So compare quotes. Raise your deductible, right? So we all want to have a low deductible. We don't want to have out of pocket. But a way to really lower your cost is to go from your $500 deductible to maybe a $2,000 deductible or $1,500 deductible. So that will significantly lower your cost by as much as 25%. So that's one way to do it. Improve your home. Now, we talked about so many different things here. We talked about keeping that roof age under 15 years, maintaining your roof, always repairing your roof until it reaches 15 years and then it needs to be replaced. We talked about hardening your home, hurricane windows, all the wind mitigation that needs to be done as far as roof straps and all the other things we talked about. Making sure that your home is, going to be able to withstand harsh conditions. Shutters, again, reinforcing your roof, installing landscaping that's not overhanging your house and making sure it's all cut back, and just making sure your house is really hardened and tight and ready for a storm. Okay, so a lot of times insurers offer additional discounts, right? So I know my insurance company is State Farm, and they offer a multi-line discount, right? So if you have your auto and your home and so forth, your life or whatever, you just keep racking up your discounts, right? I know Progressive offers discounts. There's a bunch of other companies that offer multi-line discounts. So that's another way, is stick with who you have for your other insurances and utilize them if they're available for your home insurance. Maintain good credit. So believe it or not, credit is very important. Better credit scores shows lenders that you're less risky of a borrower and it results in lower premiums. So they do a credit score on everybody's home insurance, and you'd sit there and say, well, how does home insurance have to do with credit scores? That's how they assess you. They assess your responsibility, how well you're going to take care of the property, etc. So maintain a good credit score. That's so important. Okay, so there's not one solution, right? But there's some other ideas. So, some of the other states, like we mentioned Oklahoma and there's California and so forth, they're saying, look, you guys are going to be coming into our state and providing insurance. You can't just take the cream of the crop revenue generators, right? The auto, the life, the so forth, and just say, oh, but that's okay. We're just not going to do homeowners insurance. So it's either all or nothing. And some of the states are doing that. They're saying, look, if you want to offer these other revenue generator insurances, you have to also carry homeowners insurance. And so they've also put in a lot of caps so that the insurance companies that say, okay, we'll still offer homeowners insurance, but we're going to offer it, this high. No, 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 no. There's caps, and it can only be increased by a certain amount per year and so forth. So they make it so they force these insurance companies to say, if you want all this cream of the crop coverage, you're going to have to also provide homeowners insurance. The problem is in Florida, we really don't have the political will, right? It's very geared towards the business or the insurance companies right now. So we've got to swing that pendulum back and say, look, if you want to be in the state, you're going to have to offer all the insurances, right? The other thing is that the state could really provide is significant discounts for hardening your home, right? If someone's going to spend $25,000, $50,000 to put hurricane windows in and a new roof and all these things, they should be getting a substantial discount. So that risk now on that home has significantly decreased. So again, I know a lot of insurance companies give you somewhat of a discount, but you really need to get more of a substantial discount. So like again, in California, they offer substantial discounts. They offer, if you have fire resistant roofs, they have fire reduction community discounts, like when the whole community joins in and preps the community for fires so that all the vegetation and everything has been cut back. And there's a way to do it in Florida, but it doesn't seem, again, like the political will is there. So again, we've got to think outside the box, right? There's a way to do this. Other states are doing this. So again, giving people incentives, a financial incentive to do their part in protecting their homes is important. Now, just recently down in Miami, it was just one day last week, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, and she's the mayor of Miami-Dade, introduced a mortgage relief program due to the increased insurance premiums and affordability crisis. And so they've set up millions of dollars to help homeowners, which was really interesting because they put it up to 140% of the median income, which is the highest tier of workforce housing, which is like $100 and something thousand a year. So again, even people that are in middle to upper middle that need help and assistance because these premiums are just getting out of control, has a fund in Miami-Dade to help them, at least, right? Help them. So, but what is Palm Beach County doing, right? I'm not hearing anything about Palm Beach County. So these are the kinds of thoughts and thinking that we really need to spur as far as how to solve this problem in Florida. Okay, well, enough about insurance. I hope there was some helpful things in there. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I can't afford a roof, and I get it, but these are all things, like I said, the stool is all of us together, all the different people and places and state and insurance companies all have to work together. And unfortunately, that is one of our responsibilities as a homeowner, is to make sure that the roof is taken care of. So it's the same thing as a condo owner, right? Condo owner has to get assessed a fee if the building needs work, right? So unfortunately, that is one of the things. It's getting tighter and tighter. And I can tell you from recently just going through some transactions myself, some home transactions, that the underwriting requirements and the building requirements are extremely stringent. I mean, to the point of almost canceling loans because they just don't fit the criteria that they're looking for, whether it's through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, who backs the mortgages that are being made, or whether it's through the actual insurance companies not willing to provide insurance. And believe it or not, even Citizens has requirements, right? They're not just like whatever goes at Citizens. Citizens also has certain criteria. So that's interesting to know too. So again, I just hope, again, I tried to put it in some kind of spectrum there everybody could understand, just to break it down very easily. And again, it's a very complex issue, but everybody has their role. All right, so now we're going to move on to science and technology. I think we need a little bit of a break here, right? Some fun stuff. So I just saw this Sea Pods science, I guess you want to call it, and it was so interesting that these are actually homes. They're anchored, I think, down to the ground in the sea, and they're just actual units, and it's just amazing. I'm going to show the video, and hopefully you'll get what it's about from there because it's kind of interesting to think about how these things are going to be the homes of the future. So take a look. Okay, so now getting back to science and technology, I saw these shutters and I thought to myself, wow, this is kind of a neat idea for people that don't want to have the old fashioned shutters. And let's just say, for argument's sake, they don't have the money to put in the hurricane windows. These hidden shutters are kind of unique, and I noticed them and I figured how appropriate it would be to put it on this episode. So I wanted to do that. So here's a little clip of that. Okay, the next thing is I know a lot of people that are watching love plants. And here's a garden table, right? So you can be sitting there on this glass table, and underneath is this beautiful plant life that's enriching the air with oxygen, and it's lovely to see. And I just thought it was a cute idea. So here's a little clip of that.
With spring around the corner, it's time to check back in on the table after winter. As expected, there are some yellow leaves, which I'm removing. It's important to remove them because else they can start to rot. And I'm adding some new water and also fertilizer so that they can grow again. I also add in some new pieces in between to cover any bald spots that develop during winter. Cleaning the glass top from both sides so that they can get all the light they need. And this is it. It looks brand new and is ready for spring.
Okay, now this is for all those techies out there that want to watch TV from the bedroom. This is not like the regular shaded glass or glass that's been out for a while where it just turns to, a haze. This actually was made so it's specifically to have television on it. So this is actually a glass wall that turns into a home theater. So again, this is really interesting how it's utilized. Again, another new technology. So take a look. Okay, now this is for all the cooks out there, whoever they are, he or she. Um, clutter on the counters and people that are very anti-clutter. This is a great idea. So again, all that extra wasted space, and here is a way to take care of it. So I hope I generate some thought in this because I liked it a lot myself. So take a look.
This kitchen has so many secret storage compartments.
Okay, now this is interesting because, if we talk about, I think it was Boca and Del Rey, Cities of the Future. I think it was episode 11, talking about how there's an intra-transportation system needed in downtown, getting some of the cars off the road and so forth. And so this was interesting because, again, they were correcting their mistakes, right? It's being viewed as a correction of a historic mistake more than 40 years after parts of the canal that encircled this town were concreted over to accommodate a 12-lane motorway. The Dutch city celebrates the restoration of its 900-year-old moat. So basically what they did is they took it out and put it back to where it was. And there still are cars, but just not a giant motorway. So this kind of goes back to the 15-minute city and all of those thoughts and the new thoughts with urban planning that are becoming very, very popular. But again, they all depend on a really great intra-transportation city within the city itself. So that has to be key and first. Okay, so now we're in art, right? So when I saw this, I was like, wow, the Mona Lisa around the world. So they took the Mona Lisa and then they put all different nationalities into it. And it was just an interesting thing to watch. So for our art enthusiasts, I hope you like it. Okay, now this is one of my favorite pictures. This is actually a rainbow cloud from the ice crystals in the atmosphere, and it was over Ireland, and it actually comes out as a rainbow, right, from the light inflection. So I just wanted to share this with you. There's a little video. I hope you like it too. Okay, now this is the Secret Gate. It's in England. And actually what it was an older home that was behind this that they actually had to tear down, and they just left the gate up. And it looks like a portal, right, to another world. It's just beautiful photography. It's just, it's so picturesque. So again, I just really enjoyed this picture, and I just wanted to share that. Now, this week's art is kind of unusual, right? So here's a room. I don't know if anyone remembers last week I had that beautiful bedroom / library / treehouse, whatever you want to call it. This one was inspired by peacocks, right? So again, it might not be your color or your taste, but I just thought it was just such a special room. Again, so intricate and so interesting. So again, we can always appreciate things that maybe not necessarily are our taste, but still appreciate them. So I wanted to show this. Now, this is my goosebump picture of the week. And so just staring at this, I don't know if anyone's ever been out to California and the giant sequoias and how peaceful and quiet it is. And this picture just is basically glowing. I mean, it's just one of those pictures that you look at and you never get tired of looking at, and you can actually picture yourself there. So I wanted to share that with you. This week, before I end with my pictures, I wanted to give you also some art, but with thought, right? There's purposeful art. Now, this was an exhibit back in 1963 that stated the most dangerous animal in the world, and it was actually a mirror. But underneath the caption, it said, "You're looking at the most dangerous animal in the world. It alone, of all the animals that has ever lived, can exterminate and has entire species of animals. Now it has the power to wipe out all life on Earth," right? And I just sat here and I thought to myself, with everything that's going on in the world, with all the conflict and the division and the climate change and the wars, and I mean, it's almost like this is a telltale sign, right? And this is from the Bronx Zoo exhibit in 1963. So I just wanted to kind of leave you with that thought, purposeful art exhibit, and how things sometimes seem to come full circle, right? And come to fruition. And it's just one of those things that makes you stop and think. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to show my two pictures. And next week we'll hopefully have something a little bit more fun and light. But I just thought it was so important to talk about insurance. I know a lot of people really don't understand why it is the way it is and what happened and how they can try to help themselves. So I'm hoping I gave one or two people some insight. And with that, I'll leave you with my pictures. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.